Unicorns and glitter and taxidermy critters are just some of the things they like. They also enjoy 80s hair bands, Grizzly Adams and John Goodman, so if you think that's weird then you can take a hike. But the things they enjoy the most are making art and cracking jokes, so without further ado, here are your hosts. You've got your two artsy gals, your two artsy gals. Here are your two artsy gals.
Hey, this is Katie.
And this is Lonnie.
And you're listening to Two Artsy Gals. Woo!
Yay! Ooh, that was too loud.
No, it wasn't. I
Okay.
always de-amplify our woohoos and stuff. So Lonnie and I were just talking about sound because we were fucking around with the sound equipment again.
Yep, getting it figured out.
I think we're in a sweet spot these days.
I feel like I could hear myself too much on the
I have to
LSA
apologize
one.
because
I'm so shy.
in that one, I accidentally had something bumped the wrong direction.
Oh.
So these level buttons here, or dials here at the bottom, are super fucking sensitive.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So your level was turned up higher than ours. And
So
I tried to, I knew as soon as I posted that, I'm like, Lonnie is going to hate this. But I did de-amplify it as much as I could. But you sounded sweet. And I love your laugh. Your laugh kills
I kept
me.
cooing and stuff.
I love it. It's who you are. Hey, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
Hey, it feels like it's been a while.
Mm. And my dog is barking because we said, hey, guys. And now he thinks someone new is here. Come in here, you jerk. What is wrong with my thingy? There we go.
It's flaccid.
Oh, my microphone stand has a little erectile dysfunction issue going on right now.
It's got a...
Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. So, what were we going to do? Oh, so, big top of the show announcement.
Ooh.
We have finally finished the prize.
Yeah.
I am putting the finishing touches on it as soon as we're done here, and then this is, Tuesday. So Thursday the episode goes up.
And, yeah.
We're going to post pictures of the drawing prize. You guys are going to finally get to see what you might win.
We did it.
And it's awesome.
It is awesome. You want this.
You totally do. My mom had her end of summer soiree last weekend, which my presence is required at.
I like how it's called a soiree.
She gets fancy, let me tell you. And she has me design new invitations every year for her.
Wow.
So, yes. I had the prize, the embroidery project out because Lonnie had brought it back to me and I was finishing up my parts on it. And all of my mom's friends and my grandma's friends that were at the party were like, what is this? And I was explaining things to them and they're like, oh my goodness, you girls are just so clever. They loved it. So.
That's the best. That's a high compliment.
It is, especially because some of those old ladies, they embroider.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty high standard.
Mm-hmm. It's probably fun for them to see the next generation spin on things.
It is. And I'm not going to lie. I kind of eat it up.
Yeah.
It's like my fan club. I go home. Those are all they've all known me since the day I was born.
That's so sweet.
The one lady, my friend Andy's grandma, she's so sweet. I love her. She always, when she sees my husband, pinches his cheeks. It embarrasses him. And she goes, oh, Kurt, you take care of our girl. I'm serious. She's pinching his cheeks because he's cute, but also she might pinch really hard just to make a point. I could never tell what she's doing. I love you, Roberta. She's so funny. 200 likes. We only need how many did I say? I wrote it in our notes. 68 more likes until we do the drawing.
Yeah.
We can do that shit.
Hell yeah.
So share.
Mm-hmm.
When we post the pictures, you can share the pictures of it because they will go up. I'll post it separately from the episode so that you share about our podcast and make people like us. And as soon as we hit 200 likes, we're doing the drawing.
Woo!
And it's awesome. And you guys are going to love it. It's so cool. It's like a hipster Sasquatch.
Yes.
He's
fuzzy.
He is fuzzy. Lonnie did good turkey work on him.
He's fuzzy.
And your squirrel was quite a hit, too. At the
Aww. I'm glad because I was like, I hope that looks like a squirrel. His tail is
a bushy-tailed little squirrel.
Yeah. He's 70% tail.
And he's like, look, Sasquatch and squirrel are stealing beer from the campers.
I know, it's You thought you had to worry about Yogi Bear. No.
No, you have to worry about the Sam Squanch.
Yeah, I think they just blamed Yogi Bear.
I totally think they did.
Yeah, he's their scapegoat.
Jerks.
Skate Bear.
Total jerks. He's their skate bear. Oh my god.
I'm feeling dorky today.
So we should tell people what we're talking about today, right?
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about letter writing, like the art of letter writing.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like typing a letter and printing it off on your printer. I'm talking about handwriting a letter.
With your hands?
With your hands and like writing
like
utensils.
Wow.
Yeah, paper.
No.
Pens.
Like, what if you wanted to use, could you use fancy paper?
You can use fucking fancy. Whatever. I kind of feel like fancy paper is a requirement.
Yeah. An excuse to
rebuild my hoard of fucking office supplies and stationery and fancy papers.
Nervously commit to putting a pen to that fancy paper
Yeah.
and scrawling something on it.
Right?
Whoa.
You gotta do it, guys. Seriously. I think that it's kind of a dying thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I think that we can revive it.
Yeah?
I don't know. Maybe not just us. But it's important, though. And I kind of wanted, okay, I actually read an article. This isn't really about letter writing, but it kind of is. How they're saying that kids are not being taught cursive writing.
No.
In school anymore.
No.
And
I was like, when are you going to learn cursive? No, I don't know.
My son didn't know how to read it for a long time.
Yeah.
And this thing pointed out that if kids don't know how to read cursive writing, they can't read historical documents.
We better start typing them for them.
No, we better start teaching those little fuckers to read cursive and write cursive. I hated learning that when I was a kid, but now my everyday
read some of the old timey cursive, like my grandparents.
Like, what?
Yeah.
That's a penmanship thing, though.
Yeah, where they squish it all flat, and it's like, what does that say?
No,
yeah.
I think it's a penmanship thing, but my normal everyday handwriting is this weird amalgam of print and cursive.
Mm-hmm. I have that too.
It's a
hybrid.
It is. It's a hybrid. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that I had never thought about the fact that you can't read like all of historical documents pre-typewriter.
It's gonna be like
are written
the Declaration of what?
Yeah, what? The Bill of what?
Huh?
Huh? We sound like dorks. But yeah, but back onto you can use cursive writing or print when you write letters. It doesn't matter. Now I feel
like pretty print, fun print.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You
There's
can add little drawings.
Weird things. Do little weird drawings.
Doodle.
Dude, like mail art.
Mm-hmm.
I run a mail art group. We make postcards, and you can write them and then send them in fold them up in origami envelopes and send them dude, you didn't know you were passing origami notes in middle school, but all the ways that you fold up your weird notes that I can remember to do now if my life depended on it.
No, but I love doing it with the little tab that you pull to open it. Yeah.
Although I will say, notes got me in trouble in middle school, and I don't recommend them.
Oh yeah, me too.
Dude, my mom used to bust into my shit and read my notes all the time.
Yeah.
Not awesome. Police were involved sometimes, you know.
How much LSD was at that party you attended last weekend?
Right?
Girl.
You were drinking what? Dude, I found a Keystone Light in my refrigerator when I got back from my mom's party this weekend.
So that means your son was...
He had to have been because fucking Kurt wouldn't drink that shit.
Ew.
I can't drink beer because I'm allergic to hops, but I wouldn't drink Keystone Light if I could drink beer.
It's pretty funny. You gotta tease him about that.
I was like, what is this shit in my refrigerator, underage drinker?
Yeah.
And he's like, I just found it rolling around in my car. And I'm like, well, that's even better. What? He's like, I don't know. It fell out of some thing when we went camping sometime or whatever. I just got it out of my car because I didn't want to, if I got pulled over, I didn't want there to be a beer can in my car. I'm like, whatevs. Telling me stories.
Uh-huh.
Jerk. Jerks. So yeah, handwriting letters, people.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be doing this.
Do you think people stress out over the formality of it? I
don't know. I just think that it's easier to send an email.
Yeah.
Or to text someone.
Well, yeah.
Or to pick up the phone and call someone.
You don't have to put a stamp on it.
Yeah, but there was a time when this is how people communicated. Like, you couldn't just pick up your phone and call your mom.
Yeah.
You had to mail a letter and wait months to hear back.
I know. Could you not knowing, like, what's going on with your friends for, like, months until you get their
that
letter?
That actually kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety
Yeah.
thinking about it, being that disconnected. But that was a normal thing then.
Yeah.
But really, I think the reason I like sending letters is because I fucking love getting them.
Yeah.
It's so awesome to get a letter in the mail. Even if it's just a card. But I love getting, like, I have a couple of pen pals, which I've been really bad about writing. I love getting mail from them. Mm-hmm. Like, I love it. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
To open a letter and just, like, for that minute, you know, that few minutes that you get to read it, it's like you're having a conversation and then you just answer it.
Yep.
It's awesome.
My grandma and I exchanged letters for a little while. Like, it was always around her birthday. But she had that kind of cursive that was a little hard for me to read sometimes. I really have to stare at some of the words for a while and be like, oh.
Or read the ones that you do understand so you can kind of, that's what it is. You kind of get the context of it.
Yeah, but I wonder if I handed that to my kid, I bet she wouldn't be able to read it.
I don't think August could read cursive until he was in high school.
Sneaky. That could be a way of just being sneaky. Being like, haha.
Yeah.
I'm writing, like,
just like a secret code, but it's just cursive.
Totally.
That's hilarious. I know this is stuff that we all, like our generation and older, probably learned in school, but I just thought it would be nice to go over, like, the structure of a letter.
Yeah.
So you have your heading, which is actually usually in the upper left corner, which is like the date and your address. You don't have to write your address. I feel like it's when you're maybe in a business letter, you should have your return address.
It is nice, though, if the person wants to write back. Maybe they accidentally recycled the envelope already.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I wish I had that address.
Yeah. So
it's
you put
nice
the date and your address in the upper left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, because I usually only put the date. Maybe I will start including the address now.
Yeah, because then they can just have your letter and respond to it right there.
Right there.
Having to...
And I have lost envelopes.
Yeah.
I've been like, shit.
And sometimes I just automatically get them out, recycle them, whatever, and then it's like, oh man, I need that address.
So, and then you have the greeting, which is usually like dear or dearest or whatever, so-and-so.
Or
and
yo.
then a comma. Or yo,
kidding.
What's up? I don't think I've ever said yo.
Sup, homie.
Sup, home slice. So.
Prison letters. Just kidding.
God. There is I'm not even going to get into that, because
where
I
you
found
get
a
a pen
prison
pal.
letters with, no, I don't want a prison pen pal. Although when I was in high school, we had oh my God, I was so horrified too. We had, my senior year was when the first Desert Storm happened.
Oh, yeah.
And so in our English class, we got pen
Mine
pals.
too.
And
oh, I didn't get pen pals.
we got to write letters. And
wow.
well, here's the weird thing. So my soldier guy, I don't remember his name, wrote me back. And he was a little...
Did you send a dick pic?
Well, kinda. I mean, he sent a picture of himself, but he was a little,
hey, young lady.
Yeah.
You'll be a woman soon.
Kinda. And, well, I was talking about things I liked, and I was really into Cat Stevens at the time. And so he's like, I'm really into Cat Stevens, too. And, like...
Have a bearskin rug next to your
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like 17. I think I was probably 18 by then, but still, it was because it was my senior year. But he was in the same, like, I don't know what they call it, like regiment, like group of soldier dudes,
yeah.
like, as a guy that I went to high school with.
Oh.
And, well, that I had dated. Like, he went to Tillamook High School. So he was in the same regiment as my cousin, who was over there, and this guy that I had dated a couple of times.
Whoa.
Who did not have nice things to say. He, like, must have lied about me and said that he got into my trousers, because he totes did not get into my trousers.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So there was this, like, my cousin ended up writing me a letter going, look, these two are talking about you, and I don't know what's going on, but... Because he was like...
Like, it was a fucking English assignment.
I'm like, look,
Excuse
this
me.
has gotten way out of hand. I just wanted a goddamn A. And this guy is being creepy and I'm not going to say his name on the podcast, but you know who you are. If you listen to this, you can fuck off still. Anyway.
Dirty
so then
old
you have,
man. Dirty old soldier
totally.
man.
Well, now he's a Jesus freak too.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
he's kind of like a judgy weird. And look like, I know where you came from.
Yeah.
Okay? I know how you were.
Yep. That's still in there.
And I know how your fancy special marriage began, so... I'm flipping the bird and making fart sounds.
With the most beautiful sparkles on
My
your nails.
mom called this the Romanian hello this weekend.
Oh, interesting.
Because she just gives things weird names.
Whoa.
She, again, was telling me to flip off a driver as they were going by because she can't work her middle finger and drive a car at the same time. She also so adamantly adheres to the speed limit that she endangers herself sometimes.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Because there was a log truck right up on her ass.
Oh, man.
And the lanes were closing. Like, it was going from 2 lanes to 1 lane. And I'm like, Mom, put your fucking
Step
foot
on
in it
Yeah.
and get ahead of this guy because he's not slowing down. She goes, but that's speeding. And I'm like, I don't think you're going to get a ticket for getting the fuck out of this guy's way.
Yeah, no.
Because he was a douchebag. But anyway, then you have the body of the letter. After the greeting, you skip a line.
Yes.
You have the body. That's where you put all the good shit.
Oh, yeah. That's
The meaty stuff, the sexy things.
Yep.
The hey, how you doing? This is what's going on in my life. Whatevs.
Yep.
And then the closing is capitalized line of its own that's like, the sincerely, forever yours.
Later, Gator.
Later,
out.
Gator. Whatevs. See
Peace
ya.
out.
Wouldn't want to be ya.
Totally.
We're so 90s. And then your signature, where you write your name all pretty.
Yeah.
And then if you need a postscript, which is what PS stands for, postscripts, like you go,
I forgot
shit, I
this shit,
totally
yeah.
forgot to tell him that. Oh, yeah.
It's the baby's yours.
Yeah. Maury told me the baby was yours. Oh my God, we're being terrible today.
P.S. The lie detector test determined that this letter is a lie.
Oh, I'm going to do that on somebody's letter.
Make sure they're reading it all the way to the end.
Yeah, and we'll be like, what? Or P.S. April Fools. Holy shit.
So much good stuff you can do with that P.S.
Totally.
I love having that as an option.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Oh, the yawn
I'm sorry.
song.
It's early today. I'm tired.
I came over early.
She did come over, which normally I would be all rare to go, but I don't know. I haven't been sleeping good the last few nights.
Me neither. I'm high on some kind of weird mental breakthrough I had this morning.
My brain
so
needs to just know when the lights turn off. It needs to stop thinking.
that'd be great
And
if
then I
that
could
was
go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shut up, brain. I even took melatonin last
boop your
night.
nose, boop, and it just turns off.
Yeah, just, oh my God, I would
little-
love to do that.
A little clicker in there.
Yeah. I took melatonin last night. That's why I'm so groggy today, because I took melatonin. But all that does lately is make me have horrible nightmares.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't help.
Have you ever had the melatonin dreams?
No, I haven't really taken
They're
it.
fucking weird. They're really vivid, weird dreams.
Wow.
It's bizarre, but yeah.
I like those.
Vivid dreams? No, they're not good vivid dreams.
Oh, okay.
They're bad vivid dreams. They're usually upsetting vivid dreams. I think that we should talk about why letter writing is awesome, seriously.
Yeah.
So, I feel like it's a more thoughtful form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you?
Well, yeah, you actually have to think while you're doing it, and you have to look at it and be like, is this important? Is this important enough to write down?
Yeah.
It's like you can't do it hastily, really.
No.
I mean, you can.
Yeah,
You
but
can.
then you can be a shitty letter writer if you want
Yeah.
to be. But,
Yeah.
usually...
But you can look at it and be like, I
Well,
don't
and I
know.
feel like you're really thinking about that person. If you're taking
Yeah.
the time to sit down and write a letter, because when I do, it's kind of a ritualistic thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, because I like to get all fancy.
Like, I want to send him this stationery, and yeah.
I have my fancy stationery. I usually use a dip pen. I like to seal it with sealing wax.
That's awesome.
But I feel like it's a more thoughtful form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. There are studies that show that, like, handwriting things increases our memory. It prevents memory loss later in life.
Wow.
Or helps slow memory loss later in life. And handwriting things connects a pathway in your brain that typing does not. So even if you're, like, taking notes to remember things for, like, if you're taking a class or you're writing notes, you memorize them more quickly and permanently if you handwrite your notes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think there's a part of our brain that we need to be using
Yeah.
that maybe isn't getting used as much as it used to be.
And the recipient also has that memory because they can pick it up and read it again later and look back at it and be like, oh, this was, what was going on then. And
yeah, and it's special too. It's not on a computer screen. Because look,
it's a historical,
yeah, it's a historical document.
Yeah.
It's the history of your friendship.
Yep.
Or your family.
Or your correspondence, whatever it is. It's
that little basket I have a little square basket on my bookshelf that I keep letters in.
Aww.
That have come from, like, friends, and I'm like I said, I have a couple of pen pals.
Because it's fun. It's fun to look back on those, and I like it.
It is. Oh, there are some books. Now, I haven't got to read any of them, because right now I'm in a little bit of trouble, book-wise, just because I may have overblown my pals budget for the month last month.
Oh.
So, my bad. Oopsie.
That can happen.
So, well, I got all excited about books when we recorded our episode with Elisade, and Elisade and I actually really we're big fans of the same author who recently, Terry Pratchett, and he passed away this last year, and I want to have all of his books. And so I have like the first 5 or 6 books of the Discworld series anyway, but now I'm obsessed with getting the rest of them.
Aww.
So I keep going to pals and telling myself, well, I'm not going to buy any unless they're used.
But then you hold it in your hands.
But then I'm like, oh, but I really want this. So I'll get like 3 of them. And the prices have gone up since he died. Like they were $6 or $7 for a new one, and now they're like $9, almost $10. I've got to stop doing that. But like I'll get like 3 or 4 books.
That's not that much for...
No, but it's more than my book budget allows for the month.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I stopped getting my graphic novels and comic books and other books at the comic book store.
It's an addition.
So it's an addition to my budget that I would already spend. So, yeah. It's bad. But anyway, I'm going to link some books on the blog that are just some neat books about letter writing and maybe interesting ways to send letters to people. Because again, mail art, we do mail art all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of neat. You can make your own stationery. Like, just do a drawing on a piece of paper and then write a letter over the top of it. Like, you don't have to go out and buy fancy stationery, which I like to do. But, it's harder to find these days.
It is. It's like vintage. You can find it I've seen it at like Goodwill and stuff. They put those weird packages together, and
yeah, they do weird shit.
I found some cheesy stationery in those sometimes.
Well, and I think like I found it at Powell's Books, and I found it at Annie Bloom's books. I think bookstores and stuff are more likely to have that kind of stuff. But like the office supply stores don't really have.
No, yeah, not like they did in the 80s.
But
it was
they
such
have
a big
pens. I have a pen problem.
Pens and letter writing are very fun.
Yeah.
I just remembered that, I think, well, back in the day, I don't know, typing I think it could still count. I mean, I don't know, I have this I'll have to send you a picture, maybe we can put it on the blog, of this letter I typed to my friend Cindy when I was like, not 10 or 11. And I was so excited about this Garfield stationery I got that I wanted to send her a letter. And so I wanted to type it on my typewriter, and yeah, it's just funny because at the end I'm like, I got to the Garfield like on the typewriter, and I was so excited about that.
That's so cute.
Oh my god, it's kind of funny. So I don't know. I think back then.
How do you have it? Did you not mail it?
No, she sent me a scan of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it was just, she found it and she was like, "This is so funny at
this." That's so cute.
Yeah.
I wish I still had my grandpa's old typewriter. It was like one of those old, big, black, huge, cool typewriters with the round keys and all that.
And those still take that effort of, you still have to put it in an envelope and put a stamp on it. And you can always doodle on your typed letters as well and add, cool stuff to those too.
And I don't know about you, but like I work at the computer all the fucking time. And this is my thing about stepping away from the computer.
Yeah.
Because the computer is turned into like a tool, and I use it. I do graphic design. I do all my stuff for the podcast on here. I have 3 blogs, and I have to keep up with all the social media. And so, I don't know, sitting at the computer anymore for me is kind of like work.
Yeah.
So I think sitting down and actually writing a nice letter by hand. Bonnie has a funny letter that she said she wanted to read.
Yeah, it's an old example. It's from this old book about letter writing. And these were the examples that they had in this old Victorian book.
I'm like, Victorians could write some fucking letters.
Oh my gosh, and this is just so funny because it's such an odd thing to use as an example for how to write a letter, but so they always put the description at the top of what the letter is going to be about, and it's like, from a father to his daughter's fiancé, breaking off the engagement. And then it says, Sir blank, so I guess you would put the person's name there. Circumstances that have just come to my knowledge compel me, as a matter of duty, to break off the engagement between my daughter and yourself. I have desired her to hold no further communication with you, and I have been sufficiently explicit to convince her how unworthy you are of her affection and esteem. It is unnecessary for me to give you the reasons which have induced me to form this judgment. I only add that nothing you can say will alter my determination. Signed, Felix Dunsbury. Edward Renwick Esquire, whatever that is. So funny. And I can just see the daughter in the background going, Daddy, no! Put the pen down! I love him, Daddy.
I can totally see that too.
It was so funny. I was just like, that is a really awesome and interesting example. Imagine getting that letter. And how long did it take for the guy to get the letter? So he's going along thinking he's engaged.
Yeah, right.
But no.
Then like, whoop,
Daddy's stepping in. What did the guy do? He was like, I'm not even going to bother telling you what you did. You're just done.
You just suck, and you're not married to my daughter.
You're just dead to me now.
You're dead to me.
So funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Old-fashioned...
reading old Victorian letters and stuff like that, because they were, look, the Victorian era had a huge flair for the dramatic.
Yes, yes. Yeah, all of these examples, and let's see, it's from this book called The New Century Standard Letter Writer, and from the year 1900.
Oh, that's good shit.
Yeah, so funny. And I pinned this website because there's a bunch of other examples, from a clerk apologizing to his employee, which is just, it's so funny. It's cute. There's a cute one about this guy liking this girl, but not sure if they're connected. But the way that they express it, the way they use the English language is awesome.
Yes, they English actually much better than we do now.
Yeah, they knew how to English, maybe better than I do.
Yeah. You just reminded me of like, I don't know where it is, but somewhere in a box of stuff, my mom found this little journal that I think my dad's grandma kept.
Yeah.
And so it would have been Victorian era, actually a little bit earlier, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd written like, Patrick and I fed a tramp today. And they just little notes about what she did every day.
Uh-huh.
But just the way she wrote, like they called homeless people tramps. How romantic is that?
Yes.
You know,
yep.
But it was just neat to read like all the little day-to-day things that they had done.
Yeah. And the way they word it
is
it's cool. I don't know.
Actually, I find it interesting because I think looking back, like Victorian era life was much harder than life is now.
Mm-hmm.
Like
some of the letters are so tragic.
Well, but they still wrote about it in a way that made it sound so flowery and pretty.
Yes. Okay, I want to show you this apology letter from a clerk to his employee. Okay, this is and it's kind of beautiful because no one gets apologies like this anymore ever. It says, "Gentlemen, I deeply regret the feeling of irritation which induced me to give you notice yesterday. Will you permit me to apologize for so doing, and to ask you to allow me to recall it? I venture to make this request in the hope that my long, and I may say faithful, services will plead in my favor, trusting that this frank statement of regret will meet with a favorable answer. I remain, yours obediently, David Harlan." Whoa!
Right? I would totally forgive my boss for being a jerk if they wrote me a letter like that.
You acknowledge that you were wrong, and you're asking for my whoa! Like, I don't know, in such a beautiful way. Like,
yeah.
Who gets apologies? Like, wow.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
think that's one thing that I wanted to talk to you because I wanted to get into being a more artistic approach to letter writing to make it fun and fancier. But I wanted to address getting creative with your greetings and sign-offs. And that's why I love reading Victorian era and older letters, because they were way more creative and wordy with their... It wasn't like just dear so-and-so, love, or sincerely so-and-so.
Yeah.
They just flourished. They had a flourish that they did it with.
Yeah, yes.
You know, so if you want to be like fun and silly with your letters.
And it was like a summary of the emotion of the letter, or the feeling that the letter was trying to induce. It's like, here it is in a word, what the feeling I'm trying to convey.
Totally.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool.
So that's definitely a good way. And some of the books that I am going to link talk about creative ways to sign off and to address your letters.
Nice.
Too. So, you know, I think I have a letter somewhere from my grandma, my great-grandma, that I tucked away, where she called me her darling Kate.
Aww.
She's the only one that calls me, like, my brothers call me Kate. And my mom and dad sometimes, usually when they're irritated with me, call me Kate. But I go by Katie. So it's only family that calls me Kate. And maybe friends from when I was a little kid. But I've never introduced myself to anyone as Kate.
Yeah,
like, I just go by Katie.
Yeah.
I'm a Katie, not a Kate. But she called me Kate or Kato. Before Kato Kalin. Although I'm dating myself now because there are probably a whole generation of people who have no fucking idea who the hell Kato Kalin is.
Totally weird.
I love reading stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you get a little bit more creative, and like Lonnie said, it's kind of like a summary of the emotion of the letter.
Yeah. Like, this is what I'm trying to say in a little blurb. Or this is what I'm trying to convey. Or this is how I'm feeling as I'm sending you this.
Yeah. I remember signing off a letter, I hope you burn in hell, you stupid motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Katie.
That's an option.
So yeah, that conveyed the feeling and expressed the emotion of the letter very well.
Take your fuckery and shove it.
Now she's getting all fancy. So, dip pins, sealing wax, fancy stationery, those are all ways that you can get super fancy with it. But you can also just, like, use a paper bag.
Yeah.
Like, cut up paper bag and write a letter on it. Like, get creative.
Oh, and I pinned a Huffington Post article about these letters they found, correspondence between different artists. And it's so cute how they decorated their letters and
totally decorate
very
your letters
creatively worded and very fun. Those were fun to read. It's like,
I remember writing a letter to my cousin Tom. I think it was to my cousin Tom because both of my cousins were stationed, were active during the Gulf War, the first Gulf War. So I started the letter in the center and then wrote it all swirled out.
Oh, that's cool. I love the way that looks.
In a big thing. It really pissed him off.
Oh.
He's like, well, I guess it just took up enough time. I changed colors of pen every paragraph. And I did this big crazy thing. He's like, well, are you on drugs? What are you doing this for? Anything like that. And again, the origami. I know how to fold those origami boxes, like the pop-up boxes. Mm-hmm. You could just put a letter, write a letter in the bottom of the pop-up box and open it so people read it. Or
one of the examples in the Huffington Post article that you folded into a little house, and it's like the letter is inside the house. There's instructions on one side, cute. Of how to fold it and where to tape it to make a little.
Or even you could send if you use the plastic bottles, like a plastic Coke bottles are shaped kind of like old-fashioned bottles, you could do a letter in a bottle.
Yes.
So
that would be fun.
Which I always wanted to, when I was a little kid, I always wanted to find a letter in a bottle on the beach. It was a fantasy that I had of finding a 100-year-old letter or something like that.
That totally reminds me of a quick little story about my friend Cindy and I at the beach, and we saw this boy, over yonder, a few, trails down, or the trails that go down to the beach. And so we were like, oh my gosh, we want to talk to this guy, but how are we gonna? So we wrote a letter in a bottle and put our addresses on it and everything, and then just set it by where he was coming out to the beach on the trail. And he totally found us and wrote us each letters and sent his little school picture.
Oh my god, how old were you guys? That's so fucking cute.
We were probably 11 or 12.
Oh my god.
He was this nice kid from Albany we're like, oh, where's Albany? We had to look on a map and figure out where he was from. And like, well, I think that was the only exchange we had where maybe one of us wrote back to him after that, but it was just, that was so
awesome.
Fun. And yeah, kids
You
these
remind me
days,
of,
they
like,
just like text each other.
I had a pen pal that I went to outdoor school with. Like, we met in outdoor school, and I think they were from Vernonia, which when you're a kid, like, Vernonia and Bay City are not that far apart, but when you don't drive, that's like a really long way.
Yeah, you can't ride your bike there.
No. So we would write letters back and forth, probably because you do outdoor school in 6th grade through middle school. So I think until we were probably freshmen. And then we started seeing each other at our yearly choir competitions. Nice. Because she was in choir too. And we'd stopped writing by then. Yeah. But you kind of had this like, hey, I know you. Hey. Like, we were really good friends. I totally loved her. Like, she was my buddy.
That's awesome. I wonder if, I think I still have that kid's picture somewhere. So funny. So weird.
That's cute. Yeah, and I had boys that I was pen pals with when I went to, because, like, I know you guys are going to find this hard to believe, but I went to church camp in middle school. And maybe my freshman year.
I did too.
I went to church camp because it was getting away from my brothers. But, of course,
it's fun.
I met boys there.
Yeah.
That was, like, my plan.
Yeah.
So,
You snuck a little eyeliner in your,
Oh, it wasn't that kind of church camp. I hoarded up with the makeup and everything. Like, it was okay. I'm not going to lie. Church camp was really...
I did the same thing at church camp.
It was in the same town. Like, the camp was in the same town that my grandparents lived in. When I say town, like, I don't know, unless you grew up on the Oregon coast or are familiar with the Oregon coast, like, you don't really get what I mean by town. Because I think that the place that, like, it was so...
It's like an area.
Camp Magruder, I think was the name of it, was right by a county park. And the county park was between my grandparents' house and the camp. Ah. So I buried a bottle of vodka in the sand. And then when we were at camp, I can't believe I'm confessing to this right now. I feel like I'm going to get struck by lightning. We would go through this trail, like the ape trails in Camp Magruder, and then dig up the vodka that I got. I don't know.
Katie was the fun girl to have in her cabin.
I was the bad girl.
No, fun.
But yeah, so there's that. Lonnie and I were just talking before we started. I feel like this was a kind of an anticlimactic episode. But there's going to be lots of pins on Pinterest. So make sure you check out the website for ideas for letter writing and stuff. But really, I think we just wanted to get you all excited about letter writing.
Yeah.
And here's what we're going to try. This is a last minute idea. I think if anyone who wants to do this, okay, I'm getting all like backwards about it. I think we're going to try initiating some kind of pen pal thing between our listeners.
Yeah.
So, and I'll do pen pal. I'll get a pen pal. So anyone who wants a pen pal, email your name and address to artsygals@gmail.com, to our email address. And we'll give it, say, 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then, so within 2 weeks, we'll end the submission. And then I use this site called randomizer.org. So you just put a list in and then it randomly shuffles it. So then I will assign pen pals that way. So it'll be totally random. If you want a pen pal and you want to start writing back and forth, send your name and address to us at 2artsygals, our email, and we'll assign you a pen pal.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks.
Sure.
Well, it might be a dud. This might be a flop.
I don't know. Who knows?
But I feel like it's kind of exciting.
I want to do mine old style, or my writing. I'm going to do
Are you going to write Victorian letters?
I'm going to try.
That's awesome.
About modern subjects?
Yeah. That would be rad.
My take on the day or whatever.
I kind of feel like that would be kind of a little steampunk of you.
Oh, wow. Hey. Yeah.
Steampunk or they're pretty hardcore into the Victorian character.
Well, I wouldn't want to offend.
No, fuck, I'm going to get offended too easily.
And then if I did, I would write them a letter.
And apologize sincerely and deeply.
With deep regrets.
So we have a listener mail.
Hey, I like those.
From Keely.
Keely, hi.
She's another. We're going to have to figure out a name for her because Lois is super listener Lois. Which Lois mailed me an awesome surprise recently just because. And
I know, I
was
saw
so
it.
excited. There's all kinds of skull beads, and they're really cool.
I do, yeah. I want to know more about those skull beads. They're pretty.
She actually mailed it to me a while ago, and I just never mentioned it on here. I said thank you to her in person, of course. Well, not in person, but I messaged her and said, oh my God, thank you. But Keely Rajman had sent us this letter, and she said, okay, ladies, I just listened to the most recent podcast. Can I have your friend, like, for real, y'all? The books. I must own all the books. So she's talking about the episode with Ella Sade last week. So,
that was fun.
Anyway, she had a question. And so just the gist of it was, because I had actually messaged her back and we communicated a little bit because I wanted to be sure what she was asking. I wasn't quite sure in this email, but she basically, she wants to make a journal for her mom using these books. She found extra books and she pulled the text blocks out of them. And she wanted to hand bind a journal and case bind it together. And she wanted to know if she could just use old book covers as the covers for a new case bound journal. Dude, you totally can. Someone told her, like she said, the only other person that responded to her question kind of just lectured her about how she didn't get the point of journal making. And that the idea wasn't to use something from a book that was already made. So tell that person to blow it out their fucking ass.
Yeah, because I saw the letter, what she wrote, and she's wanting to do that so her mom can have a sneaky journal.
Yeah.
Because her stepdad was snooping.
Is being a dickbag and snooping and reading it and then being mean to her mom.
Yeah.
So
I love this idea. I was like, that is freaking brilliant.
That is a brilliant fucking idea. Yeah. And yes.
Make it look like some boring old book.
You can do it exactly like you would do a case-bound book regularly. I think that there might just be, like, you'll have to replace the, I can't now, LSA's going to listen to this and go, Katie, I can't remember the name of the paper that goes, that kind of goes from the back side of the cover to the front cover of the book.
Yeah, I can't
the
remember
something
that
page. You have to redo those just to fit it all together, I think. But other than that, absolutely, you can do that. Just look up, just if you already know how to do case binding, or there's YouTube, million tutorials. I think I've mentioned her on before. Sea Lemon has amazing tutorials on all kinds of bookbinding.
Oh, cool.
So if you want to look on her channel, she has a really
like
good,
the ocean?
Yeah, like SEA Lemon. She has a really good one on case binding too.
Cool.
So yes, you can do that. Absolutely. Experiment with it. I think that is a fantastic idea.
Great idea. So I was like, oh my gosh, you're such a sweet kid.
Yeah, totally.
Aww. Like your mom would be like, oh my gosh, thank you. That is super thoughtful.
Do it up.
Really
and that's
cool.
that's a touchy spot with me because my dad actually did that to my mom during their divorce. Like he read her journal and like stole it and tried to photocopy it, and it was like this big thing. It was awful.
Gives me
Dude,
shudders,
stay the fuck out of people's journals. That's not okay.
Yeah.
It's a gross invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
And should be punishable by something really awful. Maybe not death, but I don't know.
Yeah. A Facebook meme posting.
Yeah, or slamming your face in a book.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Stay out of people's journals. But Keely, you can totally fucking do that.
Yeah.
And actually, I would ask that when you do, maybe you could send us some pictures of it.
Yes.
So we could see how awesome it is and share it with the rest of our listeners.
Yeah.
To show how it turned out.
Yeah.
Because we love
really
shit
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
We like to see stuff that you've done that has inspired you, like you've been inspired to do from listening to one of our episodes. So totally send that to us. Please.
Would that fall under the umbrella of altered books?
Yeah.
Cool.
Totally would.
Awesome.
And altered books are my favorite thing. And if any of you have any questions ever about the show or an episode or just questions in general.
I like them. They're fun.
I do too.
Yeah.
Or comments on the show. Always email us at 2rcgals@gmail.com. Or can you see the phone number, Lonnie, from where you're sitting?
I can. That number is 503-395-7190.
Yeah, leave a message on our voicemail and we'll play it on the show and people can hear your voice.
Hear your voices.
I do too. It's awesome. You can also contact us on our Facebook page, 2RC Gals on Facebook. And we have the Twitter and we have the Instagram
and the Pinterest.
Follow our Pinterest. We have, we try to put up a board
Lots
for
of good
every
stuff
show
on there, man.
Yeah, I know.
I can get lost in it.
I don't know if I actually announced the fact that I finally finished putting up boards for our back episodes.
Yes.
But they're all, like, we're up to date now.
Hey.
So the only ones that, like, I think there are a couple that we don't. I didn't make a board for the episode with Ella Sade.
Oh.
There are some that I don't
Yeah.
make boards for, but
Yeah.
most of them we do. And usually if there's a guest, I don't make a board just because we're talking about that guest specifically.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, we have a Pinterest board per episode. There's one for this one.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of letter diagrams and
There's a website you can submit letters to.
Yeah.
He's doing a project and publishing books with these letters.
totally.
Yeah.
I actually read that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So go check out. And we do a lot of research for the episodes. And so I always put them on the Pinterest board so you guys can go look at what we were looking at. So go check them out. And remember, everybody, like us on Facebook.
Yes.
Because you are seeing, like, today, the fucking prize.
I know.
It'll be in the blog post for this.
I can't wait to do this drawing.
I can't either.
I want to
I'm
find
so
a
excited.
fun, creative way to do it too. And yeah.
Yeah. I'm super fucking excited about it. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you guys to see it. And so go to our website and I'll put it'll be the first picture in this blog post for this episode. And I'll put it up on the Facebook page so that you're going to win this awesome, and we should tell them a little bit about what's in it. It's like a multimedia textile art.
Mm-hmm.
So for the trees, I used the Tyvek
Yeah.
stuff with the
They turned
heated
out
up Tyvek
so cool.
and the bubbly stuff, and I sewed them on there. And for the Airstream camper, I used tissue lame and this stuff that you use to make do appliques, so you can make an iron-on.
Yeah.
So I ironed it on, and then in the background, I used watercolor pencil and then just went over it with a paintbrush. So the background and the grass and the sky are all painted with watercolor.
So cool.
And then I felted the big fluffy cloud on.
I love it.
And Lonnie, tell them what you did, because you kicked some ass.
Oh, I just turkey worked that Sasquatch into fuzziness.
He's awesome.
I did. I turkey worked him okay, anyway.
You're so
My
funny.
brain is weird today. And I made a little squirrel with a very fuzzy tail, and I made little bitty beer cans.
And it was ingenious the way she made the PBR cans. It's awesome.
Little straws, some straws and some foil tape and some paint and Sharpie.
She did awesome.
Oh man, I love this kind of thing. My brain gets going and I'm like, ooh, I could do this. That's good stuff.
It turned out really well. We made it like a wall hanging. So you're just going to just
Yeah.
hang it on the wall. It's got by a ribbon. It's super cool.
Super cool.
You guys are going to love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for everyone to see it.
Yeah.
And again, we
so
only
proud.
need, what did I say, 68 more likes.
68.
68, come on. That's under 100 people. We can do this.
Mm-hmm.
68 likes, and then we'll do the drawing.
Yes.
And you're going to love it.
Yeah.
For reals.
Yay.
So yeah, next week, we're finally going to do an episode about wiring LEDs
So fun.
into your mixed media artwork. I've been threatening for like a year.
Light it up.
We're doing this shit. So until then, go make some cool shit, yo.
Yeah, do it now.